Welcome to ISRA League's Grand Touring Championship, brought to you by Z1 SimWheel and the Z1 SimWheel LCD display, hardware and software. Go to z1simwheel.com and you can add all of these excellent dashboards and telemetry readouts to your sim rig, as well as finding some really cool wheels that they custom build. It's all at z1simwheel.com. This is it. This is the final race, race 10 of season 9 at Road Atlanta. I'm Daniel Quaroni. Here with me are Brian Carey.
Hello, everyone.
And Anthony Muniz.
Great to be here for the final race.
All right, well, we'll see a breakdown of points in a moment, but the big news is, here we go. So James Cullen is probably clinching the HPDs unless he totally drops out of this race and Brian Carey or maybe Anthony Muniz were able to take first. Battle also in 6th through 8th, Andy Fuller, Troy Harder, and Brent Briles, and Lance Snyder and Dimas Milana also have a little scuffle to finish up here. Russell Cow, however, has taken the Radicals. There's no way for Lauren Bateman to score enough points to beat him. So congratulations, Russell. And but Lauren Bateman and John Kuzlin are just 1 point apart. So that's a second spot up for grabs. But here it is. Once again, we're back to the 4GT as being the class of contention. Todd Carver leading by 2 points over Daniel Gralty, 5 points over Corey Davis. It's anybody's championship, so we'll have to see how things work out during this race. Brian takes around Road Atlanta.
All right, well, this is a great track. Normally we run 2 hours here, but this is just a fantastic track to run in any car, particularly all 3 of these classes here. The run down through turn 1, down through the S's there, you can see turns 2 and 3. That's a very, turn 3 is an extremely blind corner. You really have to practice to know exactly where you're turning into because you can't see where you're going. The run down the S is going to be difficult to lap people, but it's a very excellent section of track. Turn 6 and 7 being very important to get down that long straightaway there down to the 10A, 10B chicane complex. And then you shoot uphill from 10B down 11, 12A, and 12. Is very steeply downhill, so it's a difficult corner to get right, and should be an exciting race.
Well, we've got James Cullen on pole with a 108.1. Dimas Milana is next to him. Brian Carey and Eddie Fuller in the second row, Troy Harder and Ryan Huff on the third, Anthony Muniz, Lance Snyder on the fourth, and Daniel Quaroni and Brent Briles on the fifth row for HPD.
All right, whoa, geez, we got the full 3 rows here. That's great. Russell Cow on a pole with a 1 minute 16.9, just ahead of Lauren Bateman with 1:17.2. Julio Palacio and Mike Taylor on the second row, John Kuzlin and Carl Mumbauer in the third, and Victor Beltran, I believe, in his first ISRA race with a 19.4, rounding out the 7th position there.
And for the 4GTs, championship contenders Todd Carver and Corey Davis will take the front row. Daniel Gralty starting just behind with Timothy Stoll on the second. Marty Jeffries and James Mines will be on the third row with Tim McLeish and Stephen Clark on the fourth. Matthew Voigt and Joe Jr. not setting a qualifying time, but he'll be starting on the final row of the 4GTs.
Alright, the cars are rolling down the back straight here, so we'll get them through 10A and 10B momentarily, and the green flies very early, so expect them to start racing as they're heading down the hill through the last turn.
Yeah, the pit lane here, there's a couple pit lanes here at Road Atlanta. We use the one on the inside on the right. So it looks like everyone's accelerating, so it looks like we'll get the green flag any second now, and
yep, the cars are going, and we should see a green, but they are racing. There we go, and the green flag is flying.
Looks like everyone's kind of slotting into position here, no side-by-side stuff.
And that's Ryan Huff off on turn 1. Manages to keep it off the wall, though, and returns to the safe.
Yep.
Oh,
that's Andy Fuller. That was a short race. That was 3 corners in. Unfortunately, Andy Fuller's out of this race, so I think with that position there, it looks like James Cullen has officially eliminated my colleague Anthony Muniz from title contention there. And I don't know if Ryan Huff has damage or if he had to, I think Ryan Huff had to slow up to serve a black flag penalty for cutting the course. A little off-course excursion there. that's one thing about Road Atlanta. A lot of S-bends and kind of cutbacks, if you will, on the course. A lot of chance if you go off, you end up having to serve a corner cutting penalty, which means you have to slow down and gain some time. Whoa! And there's Russell Cow getting loose, and that's Lauren Bateman taking the lead in the Radicals. And I think these guys are going to swallow him up going down the long back straightaway here. Or maybe not. Maybe he's going to go back at Lauren Bateman. It's seems like he's probably getting away with a little bit lower downforce here, but we'll see how this works out.
And John Kuzin going to take a look on the inside going into 10A. He is looking to make a position up on Julio Palacio. Palacio's going to have the didn't quite have the positioning going through 10B, and that would be Kuzin making up a spot into third place. So that's
Russell Cow's right back.
Yeah, it didn't take him long to recover from that little bit of oversteer, and he'll. I don't even think he'll be scored in second place for the opening lap. He was able to get by as they crossed the timing line. So back on board with Ryan Huff now as he tries to work his way through the field after going off
the
turn
track.
1. I think that was that Lance Snyder? Yeah, he was quite slow there going through, was that turn 5, and Ryan Huff also going to make another move going into turn 6 on Brent Riles, still holding the inside, and now he'll take the position going into turn 7. So Ryan Huff trying to work his way back up. Probably a good thing that he went off when he did. And of course, it's not good to ever go off the circuit here, but it was lucky that he went off when he did, starting the race in turn 1, because probably not quite up to speed. It is pretty easy to run into the wall, even though there is a lot of runoff there at turn 1, so because he wasn't up to speed, probably helped him stay out of any damage on his car. So he's moving back up the field, and I think this is myself right here in, what is this, 5th, 4th, 6th position. Oh, 9th. I had a spin, it looks like.
You seem a little confused position. It looks like Lance Snyder is in the pits. I think he got actually got a corner cutting penalty there that it wasn't black flagged and clear, so he's actually having to serve a stop and go. Lance Snyder, our Clean Driver Award winner, actually clinched it in the last race here, and is just throwing caution to the wind here and just driving wherever he wants to at this point. Although I'm pretty sure he did not want that penalty just then.
And here's a pretty good battle between the War Cars, as they are called, or Whoop-Ass Racing if you don't use their acronym. This is Brent Briles leading his teammate Jeremy Morsdorf. This is battle for P6 in the class.
Remember when they were painted different? That was nice.
Yellow mirrors on Brent's car, just remember that.
Yeah, those are really easy to pick up from the helicopter shots.
Yes, as small as the mirrors are on those cars.
All right, Lance Snyder coming out of his penalty just now, so he's going to have to really battle back. He is, well, it looks like Troy Harder's in the pits as well right now, so I'm not sure what happened to him, but so Lance is still in 9th position, but at the moment 43 seconds behind Anthony Muniz, who's in 8th. Radical train.
Yeah, the Radicals have managed to stick all together so far. At least the top 5 have. John Kuzin looking to put a move on his Coast to Coast Racing teammate going into 10A, excuse me.
Makes separated by a point.
Yeah, and makes a nice move there on his teammate. That moves him up into 2nd place, and that will give him 2nd place in the championship, I believe.
Oh, there's Daniel Croney there off the track, so so far not ideal for our Kaiser Racing colleagues here. Also, Dimas Milana is looks like he's in 1st place. James Cullen must have had an incident somewhere, so Dimas Milana is leading this race. Not sure if that's the first race lead he's had, at least this early in the proceedings, I believe it is. He may have led a lap at some point during pit stops, but good to see Dimas up front in one of these races.
And it's actually quite a incident-filled first stint here for our LMPs, who have been pretty incident-free so far this season. Racing is still very close in the Radicals. Russell Cow has managed to pull out about 4.5 seconds, so he's managed to put the pedal down after recovering from that oversteer coming out of the corner they just exited, which would be turn 7. And very close racing here between teammates. John Kuzin and Lauren Bateman. You can see there's almost nothing separating them at the moment.
Yeah, this will be the last race thing we'll probably see of the Radicals for quite a while. As you noticed, a lot of the drivers went AWOL, a joke that they just got lost on the way to the track, but I think they're all probably sitting together at a bar somewhere laughing at these guys out in the track still driving. But it's their loss, I guess, right here. This is a fantastic battle we're seeing, 2nd through 6th, basically.
Yeah. Despite the attendance for the Radical being, abysmal, the racing in the class when we've actually had cars on the circuit have been, very, very good. A lot of close racing between cars, exactly like this. And even though the numbers have been low, they've been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, so we'll watch them here. We're going down to turn 6 right now, and then down the back straightaway after turn 7. So this seems to be where everyone seems to close up. It's almost like a NASCAR drafting battle coming down the straightaway here. I don't know if Kuzland is close enough to his teammate there, but it looks like Julio Palacio has got close enough that he can get into the draft. Well, he's not really taking advantage of it right now, but there he is. He's dropping in right behind him here. And actually, John does look like he has a bit of a draft off Lauren, so see what happens here going down in 10A.
He does have a bit of a draft, but sorry, go ahead, Dan.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, he exited turn 7 with a bigger distance than we've seen so far. You can see that it was able to help him stay in front of his teammate John Kuzlan so far. Julio Palacio really benefited from the drafting down towards turns 10A and 10B. You can see he's right under the rear wing of John Kuzlan at the moment as they head through turn 1. Warren Bateman, meanwhile, has opened up about 0.7 of a second over his teammates, so getting a little bit of a gap going down that straightaway seemed to really help him.
I'd like to call out Carl Mumbauer, who likes to be self-deprecating in our forums and say how slow he is, but he's doing just a fine job keeping up with the rest of the pack tonight, so good job, Carl, at least so far.
Yeah, I believe this is the home track to a 7 over. Oh, there's Julio's off the track. I don't know if he caught the ball there, but let's see if he's able to come back in there. If he did, it was a light tap, and hope he didn't damage the car. But I believe this is a home track to a lot of our drivers here, like actual life track, Carl included. So I think Carl's had some actual real life experience here.
Oh, and the HPDs are in GT traffic. Here's a close battle. Ooh, that was close there between our colleague Daniel Qualroni and Ford GT driver James Mines. You can see Qualroni battling with Ryan Huff for third place in the HPD, so this is a pretty high up battle. And even further up the HPD field is James Cullen, who is trying to fight his way back past Dimas Maulana, who James Cullen had an off. I don't think it was an actual spin, but he had a pretty significant off, allowed Maulana to get back up into first place. So we're now watching James Cullen trying to fight his way back.
And actually, I've already managed to turf it into the wall, so I didn't think I saw my number up there exiting out, but I must have missed that. But I have definitely retired after doing something pretty stupid, so we'll leave it at that. There's no speed. Carl Mumbauer showing a very large amount of speed right now. He's right on the tail of Mike Taylor. And that ends that. I am sorry, Carl. That was my fault.
Nice going, Brian.
I know this happened about 6 days ago, but I'm pretty sure I just caused that. All right, well, moving on from Carl's little adventure with the concrete there, we're back to Mike Taylor with John Kuzlan just ahead of him. So John Kuzlan is now dropped about 2.5 seconds back from his teammate Lauren Bateman, who's about 6.5 behind Russell Cow. So this is the only radical battle on the track. After having a 5-car battle for second, it's now a 2-car battle for third. So not nearly as cool.
Yeah, the Radicals battle didn't seem to last quite as long this race as it has at previous circuits, unfortunately. But yeah, Lauren Bateman seems to be putting in some pretty consistent laps to be able to get a good roughly 3 seconds separating himself here. Dimas Maulana really cutting through traffic here, trying to hold on to that lead that he has over James Cullen, although it's under a second now, so pretty insignificant at the moment. Here's a battle in the 4 GTs between James Mind and Marty Jeffries. These guys are fighting out for a top 5 position in the 4 GTs.
Yeah, those cars really looked like they were really leaning on it going down through the final turn 11 corner there. Marty Jeffries losing it. I don't know if he was able to keep it off the wall or not, but looked like he might have been able to. At least he was getting it slowed down in the horizontal direction, I guess. James Mines now up to 5th. That ends that battle. We're just losing battles left, right, and center here. Oh, it looks like Julio Palacio. Looks like he didn't take too much damage. He's caught back up to the tail end of these guys. I'm going to work on my radicals off mic here and see if I can really rip one out.
It's radical, dude. Seriously. Just pretend like you're stoned and it sounds good.
Who needs to pretend? Just give me a few minutes here. I'm just kidding. I have a can of Diet Coke beside me right now. Anyways, that's not going to help me say anything better, but we just go on board with the front nose of Mike Taylor. There's no kidnapping space in this car. This is a nice racing vehicle, even though I believe this, with a few modifications to brake lights and whatnot, could be actually a road legal car. But not enough space to carry more than, you know, like a backpack, I think.
Yeah, you've just got the passenger seat. That's it.
And I guess at that point you're really not kidnapping them. They're just kind of there with you.
That'd be kind of an awkward hostage situation.
I know the conversation that'd be just, so, how's your day? Not bad. Kidnapped earlier today.
So yeah, so that wasn't so cool, but at least I get to ride in a car you don't see every day, so that's cool.
Anyways, back to this race here. John Cousland and Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor really kind of pushing out. I don't think Mike was in the last. Was Mike in the last race? I don't remember. I assume that there was 2 guys in the last race, and I think half the field was named Russell Cow. So the other half, Julio Palacio, and I believe. Oh no, John Cousland was there. I think he finished second, about 5 laps down from Julio.
Yeah.
So, and now we're at Corey Davis. This is a championship battle. Hey, a championship battle. This is what we've come to see. We've got Todd Carver up there in the 40, who's, I believe, 5 points ahead of Corey Davis right now. So Corey's need to pass Todd and hope for some help from behind in the form of either Dan Gralty or Tim Stahl. But unfortunately, they're about 4 seconds behind the battle. So Corey's going to have to put some pressure on Todd, and at this point, hope he makes a mistake.
Oh, and meanwhile, John Cousland has caught up to his teammate Lauren Bateman in the Radicals. The gap was quite significant and building up to over 3 seconds a lap or two ago. Now it's closed down to about half a second. So it looks like there's been a mistake there from Lauren Bateman, and it allowed the Radical field to close back up. There's about 3 cars within a couple seconds of each other right now. Meanwhile, James Cullen is working to catch back up to Dimas Maulana. That's about 3 seconds separating the two right there. Although it looks like that gap has come down quite a bit now. It looks like Maulana might have had a bit of issue going through turn 3, as James Cullen is now right on his tail. I believe traffic was the reason that Maulana was able to build a bit of a gap between himself and Cullen. We can see that gap has now been negated, and the battle for the overall lead in the race has resumed.
Yeah, I think he might have got a corner cutting there. That was a little bit of a pinch there as he's trying to get around Tim McLeish, but might have got a corner cutting where he had to slow down, because when Anthony started talking, his gap was about 3.5 seconds, and it went right down to the gap you saw there. So
you can see the battle in the Radicals has really closed up now. Lauren Bateman able to gap his teammate a little bit now after basically dropping to right in front of him. Somehow he's managed to open up about 2.5 seconds already. So looks like Lauren Bateman has some pretty good pace right now. I'm not sure if the LMP traffic there had anything to do with that, but here is Julio Palacio is going to try and put a move on Mike Taylor. He's going to be on the outside, but he's able to get the position. Mike Taylor not fighting him going down into 10A. So that moves Julio Palacio back up into 3rd place.
yeah, you can really see the size difference there between the... that's Cousland in the pits. He must have had some sort of incident, or maybe he can make it to the end of the race from here. I'm not quite sure. Not sure he'd want to leave this battle voluntarily, because it looked like it was a lot of fun, but you can see some of the LMPs going through, and just the size, like the width of those cars is... The 4 GTs you can see is pretty wide as well, but those Radicals are pretty narrow track width, or not, track width, I guess. Let's see if James is able to do anything with this.
Maulana being a little bit defensive, trying to cover the inside line going into 10A. Cullen not nearly close enough to try and make a diving move going into that last chicane there. He'll be stuck behind him for a little bit longer. I think I caught a couple lap cars. Yep, there's Gralty there, who is running in P3 in the Ford GTs. They're going to try and sneak by going to turn 1. That was real risky right there, and that's going to cost Maulana, who had to try and sit his best to save the car from spinning going through turn 1. That allows James Cullen to take advantage. He did not have to really slow his car much at all going through turn 1, so that James Cullen back in the overall lead.
All right, well, back on board Mike Taylor here. I just want to point out that the lead and the championship battle of the Ford GTs is about half a second right now, but we'll let you imagine how awesome that is to show the back end of Julio Placio's number 91 there, as he's battling for, I guess it's a podium position here, so I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, but I guess you could sneeze at it. I don't know what that really means, but probably just wouldn't be. Anyways, let's enjoy this, and it's a lot of different lines here. You can see that was entering into turn 3 there, and you can see it from the camera angles we see. You can really see through the corner, from these camera positions. I don't think we've had a really good onboard shot where you can really highlight the challenges of trying to get through there.
And here's a battle for the championship. We're watching Corey Davis's number 74 GT as he gets split up by Dimas Maulana, who tries his best to catch back up to James Cullen. Gap between the two guys fighting for the championship under half a second now. You can see visibly on screen it's very, very close. And over the season, I think Todd Carver's had the best overall pace, but right now Corey Davis is doing a really good job to keep up with them and keep that gap very short.
This is Corey's first full season in any ISRA league. He'd joined us in the Grand Prix Championship for the last few races there and did a pretty good job, I think, coming primarily from some, I'm not sure if he came from some oval racing or not, but he's one of our teammates here. I forgot to ask him. I should know this. Point is, he's doing a very good job here in his first full season of GTC, and Todd Carver has been around for quite a bit. He's not the wily veteran, but well, he's a veteran. I don't know how wily he is, but Todd Carver there is doing a very good job, and Corey Davis doing a very good job to hold on to him at the last race here when all the chips are on the table right now.
Indeed they are, and these two drivers have pulled about 6 seconds in front of Daniel Gralty. Gralty, the other driver who is in contention for the championship of the Ford GTs. But right now, those two drivers, Todd Carver and Corey Davis, really showing the pace early in the race.
There's Anthony Muniz chasing down Brent Briles, who it's quite a speed gap that Anthony caught up there. I wonder if Brent's running a little higher downforce. I believe this track would be typically a low downforce track in this car. Brent might be trying for a medium downforce setup here to see if he can get some more speed through the tighter bits, but excuse me. And just see, it looks like regardless, Anthony is all over him. I think I drank my pop too fast because I have got some sort of issue going on right now, but I'll turn it over to my colleagues here if something else happens.
Well, it's still so close in the Ford GTs right now. Corey Davis just trying his best to match Todd Carver move for move as they make their way onto the very long back straight. And Corey Davis now about 0.4 of a second behind, and probably one of the closest or the smallest amounts of gap between those two drivers so far. Draft, I don't think playing a huge part for the Ford GTs. Seems the radicals are much more affected here at Road America.
Well, that's a cool shot right there. You got Tim Stahl's. Yeah, we're here somewhere. Got Tim Stahl's Ford GT. Got Russell Cow's Radical, and then we've got Anthony Muniz getting by Brent Briles there. It's kind of unnoticed as they split them going down the straightaway, and Muniz able to get a draft and pull by. So it looks like he did have a speed advantage going down the straightaway there. And let's see if Briles can hold on to him. Just judging by your typical pace over the season or whatever, I think Muniz was probably about, on average, a little faster than Brent here. So I'd expect him to pull away a little bit, but with traffic and whatnot, it's not a done deal by any means, and each race is different, so we'll see how this plays out.
I think I remember how I did end up spinning, embarrassingly enough. It was because I was trying to open up the microphone going through, I think it was turn 7, and ended up spinning because I had one hand partially off my steering wheel. So that was a lesson learned to really wait to talk until you're on the straightaways.
Actually, my incident, which was off camera, was coming down turn 11 there. I was falling actually behind Dan Gralty there as those guys were lapping behind. I was just trying to give a little bit of a gap so that I didn't have to slow up as I went through the final corner there. And kind of forgetting that there's, the track ends on the left-hand side there. Put a wheel off, got a little loose, and just went smuck into the inside wall. And these LMPs kind of crunch like an empty tin can, so
Yep.
that's what happened there. Got out, hopped over the pits. I'm probably enjoying a nice sandwich right now, cold beverage on the pit wall, and or I'm in the broadcasting booth, who knows. Doing both at the same time. Actually, it's a good shot. Now, Brent Briles has been able to hold on as we've got Muniz coming up behind the battle for the Ford GT lead. Not wanting to mess up Corey's championship run here, knowing that his championship run is over, and I believe actually clinching the fact I think he's, well, not sure definitely in second, but actually not definitely in second because everyone else is still running that is past me, so probably still a good idea to keep her going. Alright, this is quite the log jam here as we have Anthony Muniz just getting by, then we have Todd Carver, then Brent Briles, and then Corey Davis all kind of intertwined there. And now Julio Palacios got by Mike Taylor, but Mike Taylor's having none of that. He's going to try to get back by him again. So this is a battle for third.
Also, we pointed out that John Kuzlin had made an early pit stop. Looked like he received damage at some point. Not sure where because he was still in the front of the Radical group that was still out on track running. I think he was running in third place, but he's now scored 2 laps down from the leader, and that's definitely from an extended pit stop. You don't lose that in just one stop here at Road Atlanta.
Keep in mind, he finished second last race at Phillip Island, 5 laps down, so 2 laps down is really nothing. That's a
true enough.
Just minuscule gap here. Anthony has not been able to shake Brent Briles' 72 here, and looks like Brent's actually got a pretty good run coming down here. I don't think he's going to have enough room to get by, and then we're going to see them when we get to the straightaway. I expect Muniz will be able to pull away going down the straightaway. We'll get to see that tail right now. I think one of the things too about iRacing is visually in the model of the car, so you can't visually see the various downforce levels. So it kind of gives us a little bit of kind of guessing to what's actually happening with those cars there. In real life, you'd see a visibly larger, not larger, but severe angle on that rear wing compared to the 2 downforce levels.
And we're here watching Julio Palacio, who is fighting to try and get past Lauren Bateman. Bateman's been comfortably sitting in second place for the majority of this race, but looks like, I'm not sure if he was caught out or if he went a little off track, but he is fallen back down into the clutches of Julio Palacio, who's getting a great draft as they head down towards turn 10A. Palacio, we're going to jump back, so I'm not sure if he's going to make a move there. Kind of looked like he was going to, but I don't think he's going to be alongside close enough to make a move there into the last
position.
chicane. Yes, you're right. Yep, just judge from the timing and scoring, he did, so no change there.
Yeah, so like I say, it looks like Muniz there caught and passed Brent Briles relatively easily. It didn't take him that long, but Briles has been able to stick right on his tail. And right now we're back with Julio and Lauren's battle here, and we're really skating him through that turn 3 there. Just keep in mind, if we go back on board going through turn 3, depending on what camera it is, you get a sense of how hard it is to spot that apex at turn 3.
And the close battle in the 4 GTs for the class lead is it's still the same as when we left it, and basically the gap is pretty much the same as when we last take a look at these 2 drivers as well. Corey Davis still trying his best to match Todd Carver move for move. So he took a little peek there on the inside as he head down into turn 10A. Not close enough to make a pass, obviously, but just showing his nose and maybe trying his best to try and rattle Todd Carver. But Ooh, as Julio Palacios is going to take a look on the inside, going into 10A, and gets a move done before they were done even entering the corner. Makes a nice cutback move there across Lauren Bateman. Bateman's going to try and battle back now as they head down through 11 and 12. And Palacios is just going to be able to stick it out as they head through the final corner over the timing line. That moves Palacio up into second place.
We'll see if Lauren's able to come back at this. It looked like, just judging by the draft these guys are getting here, if your lap times are with about half... Oh, there was a good run for turn 3 for Lauren. That was a good turnaround there to get that car rotated and pointed straight again. But I think if you're about, like, 3-4 tenths of a second a lap apart, you could probably relatively easily stay in touch with someone, even swap positions, making passes back and forth on that straightaway there.
Also, notice Mike Taylor is just behind these two drivers, kind of lurking in the background. If one of these two drivers make a mistake, he is right there to capitalize on it. He's also going to be pretty close to take advantage of the draft. He's currently about a second behind Lauren Bateman, so he's not going to have the full advantage like Julio Palacio did on the straight down to turns 10A and 10B, but it's going to help keep him sucked up to the battles going on, and if they make a little bit of a mistake, he's going to be there to capitalize on it.
That was just a quick shot of newcomer Victor Beltran there in the white number 57 Radical, and he's running 5th right now. He's 2 laps down, 1 lap behind Mike Taylor, and 58 seconds ahead of John Kuzlin, so we'll see if that ever comes to anything. That's still a relatively large gap, but I guess anything can happen. Battle for the Ford GT lead is still about under a second, where this battle here is for, I guess, second place now. Second place battle with Mike Taylor not too far behind them. See the blue car just coming into shot right there. Lauren Bateman wasn't able to get it done last lap, but he's going to go to, well, he's going to try the outside. Outside wasn't there. Probably better to wait until the straightaway anyways, otherwise Julio would probably just draft past back him anyway.
Yeah, he had a great run coming out of turn 5. Wasn't really able to do anything with it, but he's going to be very, very close as they head down onto that long straightaway. So let's see what the effect of the draft has as they head down towards turn 10A. He's quite close. The gap is about 0.3 of a second right now, and it looks like that gap is shrinking.
You can see it here. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's only 2 wing options for these cars, right?
I believe that's correct, yes.
So one of them has a lot of grip and the other one has no grip, so but that is a long straightaway, so going with the no grip option might be beneficial. But anyways, now this is the championship battle right here, so we'll see once pit stops come around, because you've noticed earlier races that the pit stop strategies for the Ford GTs can vary greatly. HPD is going to follow a pattern. Radicals, who knows, because there's like 3 of them out there, so we don't really follow that. But we'll see how the Ford GT battle kind of shapes up once either Todd or Corey make their first pit stop.
And I just want to point out that was a great bit of driving there by Daniel Gralty, who had Lauren Bateman cut him on the inside going through the S's. They're not difficult, or it's not easy for either of those cars to make the move, and Gralty kept it on the track. Unfortunately, it looks like he lost a couple seconds because of it, but he is still in the race, so that's a good bit of driving there by Daniel Gralty.
These guys have just been hooked up together ever since Muniz made the pass there for 5th position. So he's Muniz is about 15 seconds behind teammate Daniel Coroni there, and Coroni is about 6 seconds behind Ryan Huff, who's about 30 seconds behind Dimas Milana, who is right on the tail of James Cullen too. So things are starting to get more interesting here all through the field. All right, okay, maybe we're going to stay on board for turn 3 here. So this is turn 1, and we're going to go here. So now try to spot turn 2. Well, first of all, you can't spot turn 2. You can't see it. Okay, well, there's a curve right there. Now where's turn 3? Couldn't see turn 3. We cut away just in time to miss it, but maybe we'll be on board for Anthony here. Let's see. Looking at the time. Yeah, no, okay, so turn 1. Okay. Nice and you can see that one there. And you're going uphill. Can't see where turn 2 is. You have to kind of gas something. Jesus. Okay. This tractor's killing me right now. All right. We'll get this one eventually, folks.
It's a long race. There's still 40 minutes left to get this one camera shot we're looking for in, but we got time.
Okay. So Muniz here is, all right, well, Corey Davis is actually closer than he's been before. I know there's not much of a draft in this Ford GT, but whatever draft there might be, it looks like he's got it. And he's going to go for it, looks like, folks, down the inside. But will he be able to make it stick? Now, maybe.
Carver really late on the brakes
nice.
there to try and get that inside advantage for the next corner. He was able to defend at the 10A, so he was really late on the brakes and was able to just take his normal apex there. Corey Davis not able to brake late enough to try and force him on the outside. So good move, or good braking there by Todd Carver to defend his first place position.
There we come around Dan Gralty again, who's sporting the number 7 this race, because I don't know what happens with that car there, but just randomly changing numbers. Anyways, maybe we'll go on board here. You think? Maybe? Quickly? Turn 3? No, see, turn 3 looks easy from this camera. I don't know what we're talking about. It's like, totally see the whole track right there. It's like nothing. People who have been here and people who have driven this track and people in the series here, which, let's be honest, is most people who watch this broadcast, know exactly what I'm talking about. But because I want to see that shot, I'm going to keep talking about it until it happens. So, anyways, so this is still a really good battle right here. Milana had come within a second of James Cullen for the lead. Now he's back to 5 seconds behind. So that's the gap is actually fluctuating wildly. So it's going through traffic here is relatively difficult, and sometimes you can get a good run through traffic. Sometimes you can't. It all balances out, I guess, in the end. But here we go.
And Timothy Stoll into the pits, and this is close to halfway through the race. So that is most likely a scheduled pit stop for Stoll as he makes his way back out. Pretty dangerous turn 1 here, because that's actually the overall leader, Todd Carver, right there. And he's actually going to split the battle for the lead in the Ford GT. And he's, of course, not fighting with those two guys directly. And he was, I believe, down in 4th or 5th when he pitted. Unfortunately, wasn't really keeping an eye on him. Looks like he actually has a bit of damage to his rear wing, so he might have actually pitted a bit earlier than he was planned to try and get that fixed up.
This is crazy also right here, too. As Corey's desperately trying to lap Tim Stoll, but then he's got all these cars coming in behind him, so just I think actually probably half the field is right there. We've got Radicals, we've got Ford GTs, we've got HPDs, we've got guys on mopeds. It's crazy out there.
Looks like Corey Davis went a little bit wide. They were almost, it was close to 3 wide going through turn 7. I think he caught a bit too much of that rumble strip. It looks like he's lost quite a bit of time there as he exited turn 7. Oh, and a big pile up there in the last corner. That's Todd Carver, overall race leader. Lauren Bateman, who was running third place rather, in the Radicals. Mike Taylor also involved, who was running up pretty good in the Radicals. That's a big mess up right there. Corey Davis took the lead. Wow.
I want to dish out some punishment. Who started that?
That was I don't know, looked like I saw Tim Stoll.
So Tim and Todd in there, but there's like a Radical and an HPD, and
I don't know who started that.
Unfortunately, I think the guy on the moped is now dead because he really shouldn't have been out there. So our condolences to him, but really shouldn't have been out on the track. Now we got Dimas Milana, who's under 3 seconds behind James Cullen. Todd Carver, I don't think Todd took any damage. Those Ford GTs, when hit solidly, are pretty robust vehicles. Nope, looks like his rear wing is all right. And he is only 2 seconds behind Corey Davis. So Corey Davis dropping back in that circumstance. We're talking about how kind of like bad luck that he got caught up in all that and dropped back. But I probably saved him from that melee right there.
Yeah, I actually think it worked out really well because he was right in there with Todd Carver and Timothy Stoll, who was not involved in that race, of course, but he was right there. I know Stoll ran into the back of Todd Carver. I think a Radical bumped him, which pushed him onto the grass, and of course, it's kind of a snowball effect from there. I think that's what happened. Couldn't really get a good look at it, unfortunately, but yeah, that was a pretty big mess there for a lot of high up cars in the slower classes.
There's Jerry Mooresdorf like a ninja coming out of nowhere. He's up into 4th position now as a couple guys pit stops right just before halfway here. So Brent Briles and Ryan Hopper in the pits. So that drops Brent Briles off the back of Anthony Muniz for the time being. Actually, a lot more action than I was anticipating here. That's what happens when I leave the race. Interesting stuff happens.
And Dimas Malolano's actually managed to keep the gap between himself and James Cullen to, well, fairly small compared to what we've seen James Cullen do earlier in the season. Of course, last week at Phillip Island, the gap was very small the entire race as Cullen and our own Brian Carey had a great close action-packed race for pretty much the entire 75 minutes at Phillip Island. So that was fun to watch. Looks like Dimas Malolano's trying his best to replicate the battle that we had last week. Right now the gap is just under 2 seconds. So with the race halfway over, we could have we've got a fight for the lead in 2 classes so far. So this looking to be a pretty good race.
There's Mooresdorf in the pits, so that bump up to 4th position is going to be relinquished any second now.
Yep, and there it goes. Ryan Huff regaining the 4th place position.
The damn screensaver keeps coming on and turning the screen black, but we're back now, and Lance Snyder, I think I'd be hitting buttons and doing stuff on here. I wouldn't be doing that, but anyways, Lance Snyder is finally cut up from his earlier incident. He will have to make a pit stop because his initial, well, he was serving a black flag, so we'll see how this brings him back, but at least it's got him another car to battle with for the moment. Actually, Daniel Crony there is dropped out as well. I think, I mean, we can ask, he's in the booth right now, unless he went AWOL like he did the end of last race, but I think he parked that car on his own. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had 4th locked up in the championship, and I was getting all kind of anxious about some of the stuff I had to do, so I figured I can't spare the time to race.
So that's going to elevate several drivers up there as... well, Dan and I guess are enjoying a sandwich at a beverage right now while Anthony's out on track working hard. Well, to be fair, Dan's probably was actually working at something, whereas I was just, I don't remember what I did at this point. It's all kind of a haze. Anyways, so speaking of hazes, Anthony Muniz has now gone flying past Brent Briles to retake that position after... Nope.
That was actually for a lap. That was putting a lap on him.
Okay. Really know what's going on right now. So Todd Carver in 2nd place, Corey Davis in 1st. This is a big battle, this championship battle. As it stands right now, this would be Todd Carver taking the title by 2 points.
Yes, Todd Carver has to finish in 4th place in order for Corey Davis to take the championship. I believe that's correct.
So when he got hit there in that little melee there, I'm pretty sure that was not a good feeling, because it was 3 seasons ago, I want to say season 6, I think, the long race, where he had led the championship the entire way, and the only thing he needed to do was not finish in 5th or lower, and basically and the only way that was going to happen is if he basically essentially DNF'd or damaged the car, and unfortunately that's what happened. James Cullen ended up winning the race to his first of a series of class championships, and looks like James is well on his way to... actually, I think he's on his way, because I think I'm out of the race now, so I think James has actually pretty much got this one sewn up here.
Yeah, I think pretty much the only way Anthony could beat him is if... I mean, it was a 22-point gap there, yeah, so he basically...
And there's 11 runners, so...
Exactly.
There's Dimas, who is only a second and a half behind him right now. So Dimas is he's kind of had an up and down season right now, fast in a lot of races. He's had unfortunately a couple incidents there, but it looks like he's the most competitive he's been this season, and he's actually running down championship leader and I believe season champion James Cullen. Actually, let's call it James Cullen, but I'm pretty sure my math here is pretty solid. That's him championship. Point is, Dimas is running him down. He's still 2 seconds behind him, so definitely in with a shot still of the race win. There's the Clean Driver Award off the track again, because, again, why not? He can go where he wants now. But, yeah, that's the Iron Maiden Ed Force 1 car, as we've taken to calling it, because it's an awesome car. We'll see if he runs that again next season. I assume he'll go with that or something similar. There's the Clean Driver Award off the track again, because, again, why not? He can go where he wants now. But yeah, that's the Iron Maiden Ed Force 1 car, as we've taken to calling it, because it's an awesome car. We'll see if he runs that again next season. I assume he'll go with that or something similar.
And here's the battle in the 4 GTs for the lead. Corey Davis is now in front after that pretty big pileup here into turns 10A and 10B. Gap is down to about 1 second right now. So despite the off track, and I think Todd Carver had lost about 2.5 seconds because of that. He's managed to close that up pretty significantly within probably 5 laps here. So it looks like Todd Carver's putting on a big push before he makes his pit stop. So that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Corey Davis was doing a good job to keep up with him, but once he's actually in the lead, it looks like he doesn't quite have the pace that Todd Carver has. Gap down to about 0.6 of a second, or about half a second now. So it's getting very interesting here for the 4 GTs.
I think the 4 GTs in particular, they have trouble when guys are coming around them to lap them. It really does not allow one driver to get away very much. So it seems like the second guy through, or second. Well, guy in second place, the first guy being passed has a slight advantage when being lapped. So, and we'll see what Todd Carver is able to do though as he's flying down the back straightaway here.
Quite close, about half a second back. Of course, we know the draft doesn't have as big an effect on these 4 GTs. Looks like there's a couple slower cars up there. I believe that is Stephen Clark, I believe. He's currently running in 5th place. These guys are coming to put a lap on, so Corey Davis getting a bit of help drafting down into that final chicane there, and you can see he really closed the gap there under braking, and he's really going to try his best to get past Stephen Clark as they were coming through those final corners. You can see that has the potential to really hold him up. It looks like that gap is coming down between himself and Todd Carver, about 0.2 of a second separating them right now. Ooh, and it's almost nothing. Nope, 2 seconds. So it looks like he was able to get by. But yeah, close battling there in the lead. Also close battling here in the LMPs a bit further down the field, going on board with Brent Briles. Now we have the potential to be on board while going through turn 3. Let's see if we stay on board.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So here we go, on board Brent Briles. Okay, we're going through turn 1 here. Like I said, the turn 2 is really hard to spot. You'll see a marshal's post up on the right. Okay, you turn in. There it is. Now turn 3 is right there. Now you literally cannot see the apex curve until you're pretty much on top of it. So imagine trying to do that at speed, finding your braking point, which, by the way, your braking is going around a curve, essentially. So you're going to have to brake a little bit while turning, which is hard enough. Can't see what you're doing while doing it, and then you can't even see where you're trying to point the car until you're on top of it. So just imagine that. Just close your eyes and picture it right now, because that's finally we got that shot, and I can go take a nap now because that's what I was hoping for. Oh, I can't take a nap because look at this. This is the battle. This championship lead. Battle for first place in the 4 GTs. Todd Carver, Corey Davis. Corey Davis has the inside. Todd Carver, demon on the brakes, and he's done it on the outside. Fantastic maneuver for Todd Carver. That was really impressive.
And that was the same way we saw him defend the position when Corey Davis tried to put a move there on the inside. Was just later on the brakes, harder on the brakes, able to take that first apex and not give Davis an opportunity to go side by side there through the second part of that chicane. So Davis really good on the brakes there into the final corner, and that gives him the first spot back in the 4 GTs. And Corey Davis now is kind of probably hoping that he has some sort of trouble. He's already had one bit of trouble so far in the race, and he's managed to come away with that, or get away with that rather, and he's back in the lead.
Look at Anthony Muniz in the pits, so that's going to be his one only pit stop. He's down to 4th position. He had quite a lead on Jerry Morsdorf, who's in 5th right now, so I think that lead's pretty safe. So he'll be coming out in 4th position. I don't think Ryan Huff has pitted yet, so no, maybe he has pitted.
I think he has, yeah.
He must have, yeah, because I think he was ahead at that point too. So he's out of the pits, and we'll see where that all shakes out. Dima Smilana has pitted. James Cullen leader has not pitted yet, so we'll see how that works out when James makes his pit stop. This is obviously the battle that we're interested in, Todd Carver and Corey Davis.
Now let's see how Corey Davis responds to Todd Carver getting back in front. I have to imagine that once he was able to get the lead after the position, or after that incident there at the final chicane, that he was probably hoping that he received a little bit more damage than he actually did to help get him a bigger lead. Of course, Todd Carver still has to finish, I think it was what we figured out, 4th place for him to win the championship. So for him to have a great recovery like that, Todd Carver's going to need a bigger incident for it to give Corey Davis the championship. Right now, Todd Carver having a good, solid race. He's managed to gap himself by about a second. So Todd Carver really is putting on the pace here with just about over 25 minutes left to go in the race. And he's given all he's got. Both of these guys still have to make a pit stop. So kind of keep that in mind. That could still factor into this battle.
Lance Snyder coming out of the pit, so he's made his pit stop. Actually, him and Brent Vile, being 2 laps down, were battling each other. I think Jerry Morsdorf is 2 laps down as well, so we'll see how that all shakes out there. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Last car running right now is Lance Snyder. Nowhere in the radicals is there a battle of any kind, as Lauren Bateman, I think, is retired. Carl Mumbauer, we saw on screen earlier this race, had smucked the wall pretty good. John Kuzlin's 3 laps down. Victor Beltran's 2 laps down. Mike Taylor is a lap down. Julio Palacio is 40 seconds behind. So that's kind of spread itself out as far as you're going to see here. Corey Davis is dropping a little back to Todd Carver. I don't know if he's worn his tires out more than Todd has or not. But, and there's Victor Beltran.
And luckily able to get the car stopped on the grass and not slide out onto the where the cars track out of turn 10B, cause another incident. So that's good. He's able to get the car slowed down. Didn't seem like he took any damage from another car. I'm guessing he just overshot the corner. So he'll be able to continue on. Not going to lose a position to John Kuzlin. Kuzlin is about roughly 46 seconds back from Beltran, so no imminent threat for him there.
Alright, so we got about 23 and a half minutes left. Most championships are decided, not this one here, but just to look at what would need to happen. Tim McLeish, who's currently holding the 4th position right now, is a minute 20 seconds behind Todd Carver. So, like I say, Todd would have to suffer some pretty significant damage there.
And Corey Davis has fallen back about 2 seconds now. So, Brian, you pointed out a lap ago that it's possible Davis has kind of worn his tires out. You can see, actually, this is Tim McLeish right there. Both those guys putting a lap on him. So, Carver's going to have quite a significant incident for Davis to have a shot at the championship. But, like you said, Davis might have kind of worn out his tires there. And if that is the case, it probably would be smart to pit now and try and, since he's losing time, it would be best to pit now, get some fresh tires on, and hopefully stop the Todd Carver from kind of walking away right now. He's got about 3 seconds on him at the moment, so...
Alright, well, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give me a second. I'm going to go fire up the time machine and go back, and I'm going to go let the team radio know Corey that he should probably pit right now, because that's a smart tactical move. Sadly, this isn't being recorded live, and Corey's going to do whatever he did. So we'll just follow to see how this plays out after their pit stops there. It's now 3 seconds to gap. I'll still try to fire up the time machine though, because that could have other benefits. And then you get into like parallel universes and the whole space-time continuum thing, and honestly you really don't want to be messing with that stuff, so maybe just leave that one alone. We got one of the, it looks like that was Russell Cow into the pits in the radical.
He actually might come out after his pit stop with the lead, so he's had about 48 seconds on Julio Palacio, who was second place. So not sure how long it takes one of these radicals to pit, but he could actually still come out with the lead. Here's the overall race leader, James Cullen. He's managed to open up 15 and a half seconds over Dimas Maulana, who is running in P2. So Cullen now starting to open up the gap, putting the pedal all the way down to the floor with 21 minutes left in the race. Looks like most of the battles... Oh, and that's Daniel Gralty, who was fighting for the championship as well. He was a bit further back from in contention than Corey Davis, but that's heavy damage. That's heavy damage for Daniel Gralty there. And that's going to put him out. He was, of course, only, I believe, 2 points back in the championship, so he was still in with a shot, but that heavy damage is going to, I have to assume that's going to be a retirement, and if it's not, he's going to be out of contention. So that is, unfortunately for Gralty, that is the end of his championship bid here in the Season 9 Grand Touring Championship. Unfortunate to see for him. he was having a pretty solid race, but he wasn't really fighting for the lead, which he needed to do. So unfortunate for Dan Gralty.
All right, we'll get some, James Cullen's going to get some airtime now, I guess, but I think I had something to say before, but I'm sure it wasn't all that interesting, so I'll just make something up later.
Yep, the gap between Todd Carver and Corey Davis is now opened up to 4 seconds. So that is why the race director is now showing the overall race leader. And of course, we're actually going to go back to Corey Davis now. He's managed to close up a little bit. Looks like he's got that down to 3 seconds. Looks like there's a bit of traffic in front, actually quite a bit of traffic in front where Corey Davis is. So that's probably why the gap is helping to come back down a little bit to Corey Davis. But of course, James Cullen, the overall race leader, now 21 seconds out in front of Dimas Maulana. So not a fight there anymore. I kind of have wonder what happened there with Maulana, because he was doing a great job keeping up with Cullen there for quite a while. So to see that gap open up so much now in the final stages of the race, I'm not sure what happened.
Well, there could be a couple things there. Maybe he got off a bit. Maybe he had a spin because the pit stops are separated. It's really hard to judge the gap because it's kind of not as tangible a gap when it becomes that big after the pit stop. The other thing too is maybe James Cullen's pit strategy was just a lot more efficient that way. I've noticed depending on your pit strategy, when you pit and what times you're running, it could be like a 5 to 10 second swing either way, and maybe James just got to break in traffic. More than likely, I think Dimas either had a spin or took some minor damage to that car at some point.
Well, unfortunate for Maulana now, but Corey Davis now has Tim Stoll just in front of him. Of course, Stoll is not fighting for position with these guys. He's actually currently down in P7, 4 laps off of the lead. So Corey Davis is going to be looking to clear him as quickly as possible to avoid falling back any further from Todd Carver. And Stephen Clark now into the pit lane for his scheduled pit stop. It looks like Timothy McLeish also in the pit lane there for his scheduled stop. So those guys, I'm not sure if they're actually battling or not. Yeah, actually they are. So Tim McLeish will obviously get out first, but those guys could be close coming up to the end. And the gap between Corey Davis and Todd Carver now about 3.2 seconds. So I think more importantly, the fact that Tim Stoll is still in between those two guys is probably more important, more on Corey Davis's mind than anything else. If he's not being held up, then I guess it's not really a big deal for him. But if he is even just a tad bit slower with the damage that Stoll has on his car, I'm sure he's going to want to clear him as quickly as possible. Okay, well, I guess that's not really going to have an effect then. So Corey Davis is the first one to make his pit stop of the two guys that are fighting for the championship. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
All right, James Cullen just going to work his way through traffic here. Pretty easy lead, but you can see there's a lot of challenges too. I mentioned possible spin or damage for Dimas here, and that's probably right. As Joe Jr. is still in the race here, I think. I don't know if he's being scored right now.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, I know he's still in the race, but I don't know why he isn't being scored.
Because Marty Jeffries retired quite a long while ago, and so he's in a certain position. I don't know what.
It's
so that could be a factor if he's not being scored for whatever reason.
If Joe Jr. joined late enough, he wouldn't be scored, and that's probably what happened. Well,
yeah, because he joined right before the race.
Yep, I didn't do it.
All right, well, we know that he's in front of Marty Jeffries, who is retired from the race. He's also in front of James Mines, who is also retired. Probably in front of Timothy Stoll and Daniel Gralty. Both those guys are 3 or 4 or 5 and 4 laps down.
Dimas off the track, no nose on that car. The front right suspension has been readjusted in not a manufacturer specification. That looks like that's the end of the race for Dimas, unfortunately.
And that looks to be in the S's portion of Road Atlanta, so can be a difficult spot. That's just after the turn 3 that we were talking about earlier in the broadcast. That's very difficult. So if you don't get your line quite right through there, you hit one of the curbs, it's very easy to get your car thrown off. So actually, we're just about to come up to that section of the circuit right now. So unfortunate for Maulana. He was having a very strong race. Unfortunately, I think probably his strongest of the season so far, so that's very unfortunate for him.
That's going to elevate that man right there. Ryan Huff into the second place. You'll see him go by Demas right now, who is obviously sporting a wounded car of sorts. So Ryan Huff, after early difficulties in this race, is able to work his way all the way back up to second position.
Meanwhile, that's going to give this man right here, James Cullen, a easy victory. Just has to bring the car home now, not have any big damage-causing incidents. You can see he puts a lap on Alana right there as he crawls his way back to the pit lane. There's over a minute separating James Cullen and Ryan Huff between that's P1 and P2. So Cullen under no pressure right now. Just has to bring it home for the final 14 minutes and 35 seconds.
There's Tim Stahl, one of James's teammates in the other classes there, just plugging around, trying to get those laps in, because he's up in 5th position right now. Given all that's happened right now, it's pretty... there he goes off into the wall. So I was going to say, if he just kept his nose clean or whatever, he might have a 5th position, and then
Nice
he dirtied
job,
his nose.
That's 2 this race.
I was going to say, I didn't say it yet. He went off before I had a chance to say anything. I can't make people crash with my mind. Or can I?
Ooh, secret weapon for next season.
Food for thought, people.
Well, we're taking a look at Matthew Voigt, who I don't think we've seen at all so far this race. He's currently being scored in P4, which is quite good. He's a lap down from the leaders, but he has Stephen Clark just in front of him by, about 2 seconds, so that could become a battle here pretty shortly. Both those guys, of course, making their pit stops. So yeah, actually there he is right there. You can see him on screen. So Stephen Clark not too far ahead, and this is a battle for a podium here in the 4GTs. Incidents taking some of the guys we're used to seeing in the front of the 4GTs out of the race. So let's come down to Stephen Clark and Matthew Voigt.
I think that's pretty much it right now. Well, no, Corey Davis is still, within a reasonable distance. Todd Carver having made his pit stop, so they're still about between 3 and 4 seconds apart right now. Alright, so 12 minutes, 46 seconds left, and looks like the only race battles right now is this one for 3rd position, so podium, but they are a couple laps down on the leader. And then we got Todd Carver and Corey Davis. Down under 3 seconds briefly there, so that's tightening up a small bit. But I guess, traffic isn't as big a factor late in the race as the field thins out as it is at the beginning of the race, so that's going to be less and less of a factor as these laps wind down.
Yes, actually quite a few retirements so far here at Road Atlanta, so not a whole lot of traffic that these guys have to deal with, and when it is, it's just going to be, right now, because there aren't really any battles on the circuit, it's just going to be one car at a time, so it's not too hard to manage. Take a look at the battle for the lead in the 4GTs. Corey Davis looks like he has the gap down to about 2 seconds right now, so slowly closing down. It looks like Todd Carver was dealing with a couple radicals just in front of him, so that could be the reason that the gap is closing down, but you can see him just up there. He's not too far off the road, and about 11 and a half minutes left in the race. It could still turn into a battle here, but of course Todd Carver would have to make a pretty severe mistake to give Corey Davis the overall championship. He can afford to not win the race. He just has to basically retire his car.
Yeah, the important, because I think Joe Jr. is actually probably in there somewhere. I don't think he's had any incidents. Maybe, well, you know what? I don't know. I'm talking straight out of my rear end at this point because I have absolutely no idea what he's been doing all race. I'm just saying I know he's a pretty quick driver here, and I think his time is relatively decent in the race. So theoretically, he could be factoring into even the top 4 or 5 to where Todd Carver would have to drop behind in order to give Corey Davis that title. So I guess that's the point I was trying to get across there. So just kind of give it a shot. There's only a few more laps left. Timothy Stoll and Tim McLeish are 6 laps down right now, and we only got about 10 minutes left. So if something's going to happen, it would have to happen in the next couple minutes or in the next couple laps, because even if Todd crashed, let's say in the next lap or so, he might only lose 6 laps until the end of the race, if that.
And the gap now down to under 2 seconds, about 1.6, 1.7 right now. So Corey Davis is slowly starting to reel Todd Carver back in. But again, like we've been saying now, it's pretty much Todd Carver just has to, not total his Ford GT, and he'll walk away with the championship. So really just needs to do a few more laps to secure that championship. And I'm not sure where he finished last season. I think he was pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't really remember, but I'm not. Did he win last year as well?
No, because James won that category last year. That was the Cadillacs, and Todd isn't quite as quick in the Cadillacs as he is in the Ford GTs. Still decently quick, but definitely excels at this car here.
Yeah, that's right. The Cadillac being James Cullen really dominating that Cadillac class. Now that you say that, it brings that back to me now. So, yep, this is Todd Carver looking to see if he can't pull away a championship. I think he's going to be able to do it. He's been very consistent so far up to this race, except for that one incident that he had here, of course, that not being his fault. He was just kind of the victim of an incident snowballing behind him. So just has to bring it home for a few more laps, and he'll be the last championship, or the last driver to lock out his class championship.
It's always exciting to end the year here at Road Atlanta, because a lot of stuff can happen during the race. So let's see what happens here. Is Jerry Morsdorf, who is 2 laps down right now, is really.
I think he's actually 1 lap down. It's just the scoring's been a little odd right now. I think because it fluctuates between 1 and 2 laps down. I think he's actually only 1.
No, it looks like he's actually 2 laps down at this point. Just judging by what the gaps are right now, counting back.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out for sure at the end of the race. But
he's in 4th.
Yes,
say that.
He's in fourth place, yeah. And he has that position fairly secure at the moment. I think he's got close to 20 seconds between himself and his teammate Brent Briles. So he's feeling pretty secure in that 4th place right now. The battle for 3rd place in the Ford GT is actually getting pretty good right now. That battle is down to about 1.3 seconds between Matthew Voigt and Stephen Clark. Actually on board now with Matthew Voigt as he tries to catch up to Stephen Clark for that P3 position.
This Matthew Voigt's car really looks pretty hooked together right now, and he's getting through that last section pretty well. I didn't really get a good chance to look at Stephen Clark's line through there, but it looks like Matthew Voigt is definitely on the move, has a very, very well-handling car at the moment. Fully expecting him to have spun coming off that corner there after having said that, but he's able to carry on for the moment.
And that gap now under a second, about 0.8 as they head down towards turns 10A and 10B. Gap still about close to 2 seconds for the overall, or the lead in this class, so you're not really missing anything there. But the battle here is getting pretty close.
Actually, I think we might stay with this battle for the duration of the race here, so let's enjoy it.
Oh, I see that, yep.
You can kind of see the gap right now through the helicopter. Where he was getting a better run out right now was the bottom of this hill here. So this is turn 3. Coming off of turn 5, which is at the bottom of the hill. It's really weird. The straightaway has turn numbers, but they're not really turns. These are turns, but they're not numbered all as turns. Whoever designed this track was messed up. Anyways, not designed it. Whoever designed the track was awesome. Whoever numbered the turns was messed up. It could be something similar like corner marshal's post or things like that at Road America, which didn't make a lot of sense before. That being said, looks like this is where it needs to be quick, is right here. And the gap is pretty similar to where it was last lap, so...
Yep, about 0.7 of a second right now as they head down towards turns 10A and 10B. So, and that's actually James Cullen right there. You can see Ryan Huff just
For
behind
second
him.
place,
so that
Ryan
means,
Huff right behind him.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
actually
no, that's
going
nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say that's because James Cullen has lapped the entire field. So Cullen having a very, very successful run here at Road America, and I don't think that means
Atlanta.
no one is going.
Atlanta.
Yes, that's the second time I've done that, Road Atlanta. So James Cullen having a very successful run here, and no one besides him going to finish on the lead lap.
Unless his car explodes for an undetermined reason.
Hopefully he can hold out for another 5 minutes.
Actually, speaking of which, as we're watching this battle here, as we come down here, I'll jump back in if it gets interesting, but I don't know if any of you noticed that meteor that entered Russia the day of the one that was supposed to go by and miss us. There's some dashboard cam. There's one dashboard cam of a guy driving down the highway, and just all of a sudden this big flash in the sky looking like it's heading directly for him. And I can only imagine what that would have been like to be sitting in your car one morning and be like, hey, what's that in the sky? Oh, it's a meteor. Okay, it's heading right for me. Like that entire thought process there.
Yeah, it'd be very luckily he didn't actually make contact with him, but probably thinking it was his very unlucky day for a meteor to come falling out of the sky right towards him.
That being said, it looks like because of the lapping there, Matthew Voigt has closed the gap down to about half a second now. Actually, that's one thing I've noticed with these Ford GTs. They tend to kind of stagger their gaps about half a second, depending on how close you are. And you get to with about half a second, like you see now. That's where Corey Davis and Todd Carver were stuck at for quite a while. There's another battle there that was, well, these guys were about a second apart for about a lap, so. Speaking of which, Corey Davis has a gap down to about 1.6 seconds right now, so. And that battle isn't over yet. Only a few minutes left, but
with only, with only 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the race, that means Todd Carver will lock up his championship for Season 9 Ford GT class. So congratulations to Todd Carver. Of course, Corey Davis could still take the class win here at Road Atlanta, but congratulations on the championship, as Matthew Voigt is looking to get past Stephen Clark here in the final minutes of the race. He's really close. Actually going to be the closest he's been to Stephen Clark as they head down on the long straightaway.
I think Tim Stoll just retired his car as he's got that, I'm not sure what happened there, but he might lose the position to Tim McLeish. This, on the other hand, we'll see if Voigt's going to be brave in the brakes here. He might not get another shot at this, so no, he's not quite close enough yet, so can't really just throw it up the inside there and hope it works. You don't want to be running to the side of someone.
I think he might get 2 more laps. I'm not sure where Cullen is on the circuit, but I think he might get 2 more laps out of this.
I think he's on there somewhere between turns 1 and 11 at this point. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, one of those, yeah.
So it looks like Stephen Clark is taking a slightly more defensive line, or at least Matthew Voigt is varying his line a little bit to give Stephen a little bit more to look at in the mirror, but also too to just driving the same line as the car in front of you is typically not going to get you gain any positions. So, kind of mixing it up and seeing if you can find a quick advantage to maybe make a pass.
We've got Brent Browse coming through right here. He's going to take the outside through turn 6, and that's going to allow Matthew Voigt to really close the gap to himself and Clark as they head down onto the straightaway. Ooh, and Clark, it looks like he had a bit of oversteer coming out of turn 7, and that's going to be Matthew Voigt, I believe, right alongside him. I can't see Clark.
Yeah, he was on the brake coming out the exit there. Yeah, it was weird.
I think he probably, I'm guessing he tried to do the save there to try and stop his car from totally spinning. And Voigt holding the inside going down into 10A. There's Clark right there, and he actually had the overall top speed even because with that oversteer. And that was a
draft of the Radical up ahead, I think.
I guess that's what did it, and that was a great opportunity for Voigt to take advantage, but couldn't quite do it. Clark just had the top speed coming down into the final chicane.
So next time Cullen comes to the line, it'll be the white flag. So basically 2 laps left for these gentlemen right here. Oh, James Cullen white flag, so these guys will finish this lap and have one more.
It looks like Matthew Voigt didn't get the corner exit that he needed coming out of turn 5. He's a bit further back. And, let's see. Yeah, indeed it is. And but Voigt's back by about a second now, so not going to have an opportunity coming into this last corner. He's going to need to close that gap as they come around for the final time. Oh, this Lance Steiner might actually help Voigt. Indeed he does. You can see he's able to close the gap quite a bit as they head into turn 10A. And he's going to be right on his rear bumper. That's what Voigt needed to happen. He needed to close that gap. It's going to give him a couple more opportunities to make a pass here. Well, probably one really strong opportunity going into 10A. So let's see if he can keep it close for the final lap. Ooh, and Clark has a big mistake going through
entered that really shallow. I don't know what that was all about. Well, and James Cullen has taken the victory, so that's that there. Todd Carver as well has taken the victory with Corey Davis behind him. So this is a battle right now, folks. This is for the final podium spot in the 4 GTs.
And Voigt's got it really close to the head coming out of turn 5. Gap's being shown by about half a second, so he's going to be close. He needs to really close it up as Russell Cow comes around across the timing line to take first place in the Radicals.
A lap ahead of Julio Placido.
Yeah, who crosses right now.
Or 2 lap, whatever the hell it is. One of those tennis cars yet. Okay, wait, no, go back to the battle.
There it is.
We sat with it the entire time, now we're coming up to it. Okay, so here we go.
Voigt's going to really have to dive on the inside to get a look going into the final corner. You can see Clark is going to be defensive heading down towards turn 10A. He's going to hold the inside line. Matthew Voigt's going to have to look on the outside if he can get alongside. Not going to be able to do it. See if he can try an undercut coming out of the final corner. Oh, and we're going to see points.
No standings, no standings. No standings.
No, I guess it's just because they took so long after James Cullen crossed the line. Well, anyway, let's watch it. We know what happens, except that the big news is that Anthony Muniz takes second from Brian Carey, teammate, and in the 4 GT.
Yep, Clark takes it. 3rd place.
Well done. Actually, no, he didn't, because I've just looked it up, and where did he go? Joe Jr. actually took 3rd place because he wasn't on our timing.
Oh, was it 3rd place? Oh, so that's the 4th?
John Cousin over Warren Bateman in the Radicals. We should note that.
Oh, yeah, that's good. And there's the final for the 4 GTs.
And there we go, yes, final in 4 GTs. Todd Carver with the championship win. Corey Davis coming 2nd. Daniel Gralty 3rd. Eduardo Beninca 4th. Timothy Stoll 5th. Matthew Voigt 6th. Tim McLeish 7th. Susan Clark 8th. James Mines 9th. And John Rossettos 10th.
So there you have it, folks. That is the end of Season 9. And congratulations. Just like to say congratulations to all of our class championships and everyone for competing. This was a great season for close racing, and I really enjoyed this one. Of course, the schedule is irrelevant because we've done all of the races.
Yes, indeed, but next season's schedule is up at israleague.com, as are the signups. So go ahead and visit israleague.com, join the forum, say hello, and sign up to drive next season.
Actually, a few Corvette spots still left available for full-time slots, but if you want to do that in the Corvette, or even fill the grid, which allow you a chance to try the series, to just kind of sign up and jump in if there's some extra spots available in either the Corvette or the McLaren MP412C, which is a excellent car, a new addition to the series.
Yes, and the lineup for that for next season is incredibly impressive, so that's going to be the one to watch. But we'll get to that when we start doing the broadcasts, which means we have to start doing the races. So until then, thank you guys. Thank you, Anthony Muniz and Brian Carey. Thank you to the admins of ISRA League for making this all possible, for the racers for all this outstanding racing, and finally for you for watching. Oh, and actually finally to Z1 Simwheel for their sponsorship of the series. And that's it until Season 10. Have a good night.